This is crazy. Okay, let me get over here. This is nuts. But I like how the universe makes me available when I need to be available. So, how you guys doing? This nice relaxing Monday? You know, just hanging out, eating bonbons on the couch, everyone? I'm kidding. Hi, Connie. Hi, Lucienne. Larry Girl, Barbara, Mel, Tammy, T-Barb, Kimberly, Aloha, Asantawa. I'm sorry, I always want to add another syllable there. You haven't seen Rachel yet? What's up? Oh, I don't know. Oh, Rachel Maddow? Hi, Chima. Thanks for being here. That was you on Twitter, by the way, about what? Did I miss something? Oh, gosh, Julie, I haven't even heard that one yet about the private prison list. Hi, Rebecca. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I watched a little bit of Maddow tonight. She just seemed much more relaxed on a big news day than she normally does, at least to me. I didn't get to watch all of her. But there's some things I need to address. First of all, you guys know that if you've been watching my latest videos, you know that I've been taking a newer approach that has more depth and breadth, where we're able to see how the players are communicating with one another, who's like the secondary players and kind of what they're doing. And so that was the two-parter I posted today on Mr. Christopher Ray of Light. To see what was on the agenda this week for the Bureau. And then, because I was using this as a practice before I meant to go live to talk about Italy, because I think I finally cracked that. It's so fascinating. But then, of course, today, been running in and out all day today, I saw one of the first things that happened this morning, and you guys take note of this because this happens every single time, that JWohl was trending. I'm like, oh my gosh, why? What's happening now? What is he distracting from? Because every single time he shows up with a big, splash in the trends, doing something totally stupid, outrageous, it's always to engage and distract and deflect. Always. It's always planned. He's functioning as something bigger. And he's the one that planned the fake FBI raid. I didn't even bother to read that news story because I'm like, oh boy, something's happening today. I don't know what it is. But when he shows up, it's part of a bigger plan for provocations. Just a minute. Okay, sorry. I had to put my family on short notice. It has gone live. So that's number one. It used to be, remember back in the day when Jill Stein and Tulsi Gabbard would say ridiculous things so everyone would things would blow up, but it was always a cover for something else? Yeah, we have new players now. They're doing these things in different ways. And there's a huge host of news that happened today. I tried to start my own thread for myself on Twitter so that I could had a record of what was kind of happening in chronological time. So the big one, though, because I think a lot of people were expecting to tune into the news today to find out what was going on with Caputo and the CDC, which, by the way, in 2000, he worked for Gazprom Media. He worked for Putin. He's installed in the CDC, acting very Kremlin-y with our agency. I think a lot of people wanted to find out about that, talk about the fires, and then donholio shows up on the West Coast, which, again, another shiny object plus a big FU to the rest of the country, because he designated some Yahoo in charge of climate change again. And I just have to give a shout out to Biden for using that term today, a climate arsonist. Because Donald, in his speeches, kept saying the suburbs are going to be on fire. Well, they are. Magically, this kind of happened what he said was going to happen. The same with American carnage. I like that Biden hit back hard with those words because it takes the wind out of that argument. He's a climate arsonist, right? And so let me just check in with you guys really quickly. Hi, you guys. Hi. Yay, you finally get to watch a live, HK. Oh, Beth, I am so glad to hear that you guys could actually see the sky and breathe a little bit easier in Oregon. I've just been imagining the divine feminine just taking big breaths and just blowing stuff out of the way. So, okay, good. What, Linda Foster, is she here? Is she here? We haven't seen her in a while. I don't see her. Oh my God. Hello, everyone. There you are, my Linda. I hope you guys are well in Indiana. So, but then the thing that happened today as things were picking up, we found out about the inspectors generals inspecting Bill Barr and what happened with Roger Stone. We found out a bunch of other things. But then the big thing was this, and I don't even want to repeat this. So this is very typical. 31 whistleblowers last week. Whistleblower. The alternative facts group likes to pick up on those hot hashtags, hot words, and breathe their own thing in it to delegitimize them. That is kind of what happened. It's been so long, but I think maybe it was with Al Franken, maybe, I can't remember. But they picked up that tag after legitimate whistleblowers were coming out. And then they use it to delegitimize it. So this was related to whistleblowers that came out. The other thing that made me questionable about this was, why is this coming out in the middle of the day? And why this publication? Because this is a really big deal. A legit, in my opinion, whistleblower from about this would go to Congress. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of fuzzy. I am totally open to this. If this is real and legitimate, yes, this has to be addressed. It seemed like the more I read it, it was just from the months of October through December 2019. I didn't read the whole thing, but the gist that I was able to read, it was just about that amount of time. There were several women saying they were confused about what they had to do, why they were being told to do this procedure, who didn't speak English, and there was supposedly an outside gynecologist that was used. That name was never revealed, or the medical agency who did it, but the whistleblower's name was revealed, and the complaints were filed on behalf of her in such and such town. So there was a lot of specific information about her. I didn't catch anything about the gynecologist, but then again, I didn't read the whole thing. So, and that's heartbreaking and tragic. And the thing is, we can all see this being legitimately true. And you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it was from a different time. But here's the big thing. I don't want to delegitimize this. I don't want to say if it's true, because in some capacity, I think it is true. And that is also another Kremlin-y thing. To keep people confused, you feed them bits of information of a story, create a lot of outrage. Nobody has every single paragraph of a story, so everyone has to kind of plug in information into their brains to create a narrative, and that's the narrative that they stick with. It's called reflexive control. I did a series last summer on MSNBC Can't because I was so mad at them for using the tactics that they do in Russia when trying to control the narrative and the information that they let out a little bit at a time. And then people are left confused and they have to plug in the details. But because they said the first outrageous thing, it sticks. So back to what I was saying, people were primed to listen to the news. Everybody shell-shocked and traumatized about what we're seeing on the West Coast. Thank God the flames are blowing away a little bit more. And then everything having with the CDC, whistleblowers, people resigning last. I mean, it is a lot. And then it was like this thing came out of the blue and it jolted everyone. It was like a gut punch. It was horrifying. I didn't even want to read the article. I was just able to read a little bit here and there because we were just running all over today. And so finally when I got back, I'm like, I have to throw a terrascope. And then as I started doing that, I'm like, well, I didn't expect these cards for a terrascope, especially when my partnership, the one I'm working with, or when you have a story like this and there's a partnership on reporting on a story like this, you would expect that partner to show up as like a page of wands, or those people were filing a report on behalf of a whistleblower. You would expect them to be like a knight of wands taking action for them. Or Knight of Pentacles taking action for them with valuable information. Because this was about kids or the border, I would have expected to see more things about family. But when it came down to partnership on this that happened, the partner came up as the Seven of Cups. It's like, what the heck is this? So what I'm going to show you is the terrascope that I threw for this. I threw a couple. I threw one on the whistleblower. I threw one on this incident, this itself, because the whistleblower one didn't look quite right. And I was like, well, maybe I just need to do just this at the border. And that looked just kind of, So then this terrascope I threw is mass this legitimate. So that's what this terrascope is. Right off the bat, the cards on the bottom of the deck that I use for the ascendant, the thing that gives life to the chart of what happened, I got no news. It's no news. I was thinking, well, maybe I got that wrong. Four of Cups. Six of Wands. This is a story you're going to take, or this is a procedure on your organs you're going to have. So it could have gone either way. But this, I was like, what's going on? So I threw this terrascope. Didn't totally make sense. And then I was like looking for things that it lined up with, which I wasn't getting anything until the very end. You know how I've been talking about Italy and what happened there? Well, that was one of the last things I looked at. And that's where things started coming together. Crazy. But this could totally be wrong. This is for entertainment purposes only. I just want to share with you what I found today because it's really just wow. Okay. Oh, one last thing before I show you this to you. The moon today was in Leo. I took a screenshot of the horoscope when I was on the road. When this happened, the moon was 17 degrees Leo when this happened. So in the teroscope for this lunation, that moon, 17 degrees Leo, is in the house of secrets and hidden enemies. A whistleblower isn't usually a secret or hidden enemy. The 31 whistleblowers from last week showed up as the Page of Cups at the top of the chart, crowning Washington, D.C., so everyone could see it. This moon was activating the area of secrets, hidden enemies. But that moon was at 17 degrees Leo. Does this look familiar? The Saturn-Pluto conjunction. The moon is 17 degrees, 13 minutes in Leo, in the 5th house of the sun. Right there. When I was talking most recent, now I can't even remember what, my brain's even is going to mush. I think at the most recent lunation, or I don't know if it was the 3-part, anyway, is in the past week, I was saying that somehow the lunations, no, it was the Mars retrograde. I said the Mars retrograde was going to pull in the divine feminine, and it was also going to activate this. Well, we have the moon here, and today the sun in this chart is 22 degrees Virgo. It's in this area of public service, military investigations, intelligence. 22 degrees Virgo is an exact trine to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on January 12th. That was at 22 degrees, 47 minutes, Capricorn. This is as strong of a blue line as you can get, meaning it pulls in, anchors that energy, and it like dominates everything else in the vortex to just pull everything in. Mars retrograde is tagging that Venus from here, which has to do with women. And it's pulling in shocking things on the ascendant. Taurus, the sign of Taurus and Venus, women, money, gains. On the ascendant here, conjunct Uranus, was sudden shocking news. That was such a jolt today. So when we're talking about the change in structure of governments and power, today was a big day. We have two factions fighting. Whistleblowers are fighting back. Like I said in the Mars retrograde, the indefensible is no longer defensible. Venus will rise up, our values will rise up. And look at that, we've got an investigation with Attorney General Bill Barr, a bunch of other stuff I can't even remember. But then we've got these secrets also here that has to be cleared out. It's okay that this came out today because this is how our politics have been for a long, since the past decade. Russia has been so embedded deeply within our culture, our news, in our reporting. I love that how much Peter in his book addresses this with them. He said it again last night, that how the media is just reporting on something else and not what's right in front of them. This is part of the part of that process of rooting all this stuff out. The Page of Swords, there was a spy today. I figured out that that's Michael Caputo. We figured out, yeah, absolutely reminded me he worked for Gazprom. And the Black Moon Lilith mystery, I often see that related to ops that happen. I think most recently I was referring to this with the fire. It was showing up with the fire. Now we have them with the CDC and COVID. Now there's something else that's happening in the 5th house of the sun. And I think it's related to this thing about mass this. The other thing that lined up with, oh my gosh, YouTube stats going down last week, Friday. I'm like, something's up. They're changing the algorithms. It all, even YouTube changing that. And my sexy trolls, aren't they so pretty in my comments? All of them showing up. It's all related. It's all related. So let me check in with you guys real quick. Oh, Marjorie. My goodness. Thank you, dear. Oh. And Anne, thank you. So generous. Okay. Oh, Nancy Lee. I have that one that you're talking about. That guy has got the worst last name. He was indicted. That's another. There were a lot of indictments last week that haven't made the news related to Russia and Nader. So this guy, the only thing I can remember is his last name. This is legit his Russian last name. Oh, wait, no. I think it's just that. None of that. This is one word. And I can't even remember what he was indicted for because that's a really bad, crappy name, huh? Nancy, I'm on it. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Rose, very much. How do I get back to this? Okay. Oh, I have to hit the like button. Nancy Lee, I'm on it. I got it. He connects. I can't remember off the top of my head. But let's go back to this. So this is the Terrascope. Virgo on the ascendant, ruled by Mercury, has to do with news. OMG, one more thing I have to comment on. I know I keep interrupting myself. The North Node, life's purpose, where we're headed, and the moon at this lunation. The moon was at 18 degrees. Right now, the North Node is 24 degrees Gemini. Donald's sun is exactly in the middle at 21 degrees Gemini. So, yeah. It's... I don't even know what to say about that. It's just all that. So giving this chart life, we have, no news, the Four of Cups. This is I'm going to offer this to you. You going to take it and like it or no? Or are we just going to provoke and scare the heck out of you? There's also the thing guiding this chart. The astrology said, look to the fire, the desire of the 9th house. Putin's house. What do we have over there? The Empress. This is Donald and Putin's agreement to rule the world. And we've got genius there because there was a genius idea. Oh my gosh, that goes back to storing data in Russia. I talk about that in part 1 and part 2 today. Yeah. We're not going to talk about that. This, oh my gosh. And on the ascendant, this is what it was talking about. There's a 7 of Cups here. On the ascendant, the tarot said to look at. That's the partnership of, is this Mass H story legitimate? This is in the 7th house of partnership or open adversaries. Right there. Knight of Wands, people taking action. So here, the first house over Washington, D.C., the identity of D.C., basically the White House, the 9 of Swords. I'm going to cause a nightmare. I'm going to be a total nightmare, anxiety provocateur. To me, he's just a freaking media terrorist. That's what I think this 9 of Swords are. I kept thinking these guys were like nervous and anxious about something. No, they're not. They want to be this. Okay? So in the first house, we have, fighting. Fighting obstruction? No, this is supposed to be a whistle. Is the Mass H story legitimate? Fighting. instantly caused fighting. Let's see who our players are here. So, as you know, this chart moves and communicates with all the 12 different parts of this chart, the horoscope. So, the ascendant said, look to the 9th house. Here, look to the 9th house. What do we have? Oh, it's a plan. We put a plan out there. Let's see what happens. Is the Mass H story legitimate? Well, let's put it out there. So because these communicate, I am looking at who shares in common these cards here on the ascendant and who else has the Three of Wands in the same position. Okay, so if they communicate, I look for, I guess it would be kind of my way of knighting, maybe. I don't know, but it's more like a mutual reception. So who had the no plus Page of Wands? Nobody. But the people who had the Page of Wands, oh, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction had the Page of Wands. As did the 12th house of secrets, as did the country Iran. Page of Wands. Who had the Four of Cups in the same position? Ken Cuccinelli. Kind of makes sense because this is kind of like his area, right? Who had the Three of Wands over here? We had, oh my God, I was not expecting this. Foxconn. For those of you in Wisconsin, Foxconn came in and they were going to make all these new jobs, creating the liquid crystal displays, the screens. They got billions of dollars from the state of Wisconsin. In fact, oh my God, I can't keep my brain together. During the transition period, executives from Foxconn went to Trump Tower, as did executives from SoftBank. The vice president, I think, of Foxconn is an executive with SoftBank. Foxconn, no one can figure out what they are supposed to do except create all these jobs. They went into Wisconsin. They made all these headquarters. We're going to do this, that, this, that, this, that. There's nothing. As far as I know, nothing is happening. It's shut down. It shuttered supposedly after Governor Tony, is it Evers was elected in 2018. So whatever. They are in this data stuff as well. So when we're talking, remember, part 1 and part 2 today, and what Peter said in his book, the new type of espionage is the fast, rapid storage of data. Foxconn. Is Foxconn helping out with this? The other thing that matched this here in this position is COVID testing data. We're back to data again. We're back to people and their personal information, right? So, is this Mass H story legitimate? Oh my God, everyone is triggered. Nightmare fighting. There is only one person who had this Five of Wands in the area of identity. That person? Konstantin Kilimnik. You know, the guy that Paul Manafort and Rick Gates handed off voter data information to who got it to Oleg Deripaska? Konstantin Kilimnik was involved with that. There's a picture somewhere in my Twitter timeline. I will probably never go fish it out or find it. Or maybe it's on the other account. But anyway, it exists. I have screenshot. Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, Konstantin, and the guy, the president of MSNBC in like 2002 to 2004 at like a big conference table, big group of people in Ukraine. Michael Caputo is back. Michael Caputo was working for Gazprom at that same time. Anyway, Konstantin Kilimnik. First house, nobody else matches this. I will tell you who had, though, the Five of Wands and who has their eyes on him, because this is how I always attribute these things. The first house of identity, this is who you are. You are like the final denominator. Canada, our friends, the Royal Mounted Canadian Police, had this in this area, the second house of income gains values. The astrology in this chart said, look to the second house of owning. I think Canada has something on him. In the third house over here, which has to do with messages, it says go to the 12th house of secrets. Who has Konstantin Kalimnik? Our cybersecurity.gov. Fourth house, U.S. defenses, our roots. Adam Schiff had this card. The fifth house of the sun. Who's related to the sun and who would know Constantine? That would be Betsy DeVos. In the area of partnerships or adversaries, open adversaries, I didn't have anything here. I had GBHQ from the UK and IC, our intelligence community, know about this. Note here, this astrology card, Cancer, I feel, this is what I've been linking to, like artificial intelligence, surveillance. Oh my God, there was an article that came out today from Australia that China is surveilling millions of people around the globe, including the United States and Australia and the UK and Malaysia and India and others. I told you they are surveilling us. And my friend, oh gosh, I just keep seeing you as the Elijah Cummings avatar on Twitter, gave me the link about this big deal that was made in the UK for microchips being produced by a company named ARM. You know, microchips have everything to do with like Rostelecom and elections. I digress, but that leads there too. And lastly, the Five of Wands, Constantine, showed up in what's crowning Washington, D.C. in relation to Novartis. Remember Novartis? The company that paid Michael Cohen. Novartis is one that I think is related to the president, or the CEO of that company is related to the hydroxychloroquine and the conversations they had at Davos in the background. There's Constantine. I could be wrong. This is for entertainment purposes only. And the tarot had this crowning Washington, D.C. So, is this legitimate? This is where we are. Let me get some water and check in with you guys real quick. I'm just going to put this, oh gosh, right here. Okay. How are you guys doing? Hi, Keisha. Hello, folks. Hi, Carmen. Yes, for entertainment purposes. We are so entertained, you guys. Right? Okay, Secret Zelda, that's what we're talking about. Hang on. You guys, if this is confusing, I highly recommend you watch the agenda for this week. I have the 2 videos I posted today on how this Terrascope is working, because I am going to Italy to sort that big mess out. It'll help for you to... Oh, here we go. I think I'm back. I think I'm back. Am I back? Oh, thank you, Linda. Okay, can you see me now? Can you see me now? Yes. Okay, I had to, believe it or not, disconnect my VPN. My Proton VPN. That is interesting. Was it something I said? I don't know. Do these tarot cards make me look fat? Okay. I'm going to have to still talk and code. Good thing this isn't my name. That is a legit name of someone in Ted. Okay, we're still here. Something I said, for entertainment purposes only. Come on, take a joke, YouTube. Okay. Back to this thing that they value, the Two of Swords. Now, this is where I thought it had more legitimacy because you're separating. You're using a knife to cut something out, right? Separate you from the girls, from Aunt Flo makers. You know what I'm talking about. So this thing that they value, though, there's like messages going on. So they want us scared. There's messages going on. Who else? Who else values this? This astrology card here, shared resources. Libra. Oh my gosh, I balance, justice. You know, that I am more and more convinced that justice card and the Libra in the tarot, you know, the scales of justice, I am more and more convinced that it's this person handing stuff off, all them, to help, you know, balance things. Balance, not balance things. So that card, this house of Mars is the ruler of this is Mars. It's retrograding, getting turned inward. Who else had this? Well, nobody matched it directly. But when you look at, so this house is fed to this house and this one feeds this. So all those cards play a role here. So those are like secondary actors. Okay, so I'm naming primary actors, people of exact match to the tarot card. The secondary ones are the ones who match in the way the astrology says to go. Okay, so you want to wait till you hear this. I don't even think I can say these things. So, oh my God. You know, when Oregon sheriff said, please stop reporting that these are setting hot, you know, those big fires, because they're not. This I put in quotes. That lined up with the messaging about, is this legitimate? So did the big scary things with the California big scary things. Vatican City, Italy did, lined up. Again, Foxconn lines up, and so does the Royal Mounted Canadian Police. I can't wait until we can talk to Canada again and find out everything that's going on. So those were secondary players in the question, is this legitimate? I'm making a mess. So when we go here, now this says the communications come to here. Oh, the astrology said, or the tarot said, this is the White House and the third house of secrets. Who else had secrets here? Is it legitimate? We have the moon. It is very outrageous, but you guys know this is my card for the China right here. Who matched this? KY Jelly. KY Jelly. You know, KJU's sister. She matched exactly. The judge who ordered the 24 Saudis to testify in the for 9/11, she's subpoenaing them for them to testify because the families need to know, they have information. And Kamala Harris, which tells me they're monitoring her in this regard. The thing is, when I start throwing terroscopes like on, oftentimes I'll see like with Joe and Kamala or whoever's leading the narrative from the Democrats, who has a big role during that week, oftentimes the counter ops against them show up as the cards of the Six Wands mob, all the bad guys. Look at all the messages and secrets that showed up in this area. That mailer, do you guys get that mailer for the United States Postal Service this weekend on how to vote? That came up. Remember? Data and those barcodes. They have everybody's addresses. Let's outrage them, see if we can get people to bite. We sent out these USPS mailers. Maybe people have responded. This one I'm not even going to say. I don't know if you can read that. Remember, the Five of Wands is also our friend Constantine. And it's active in this area because the Five of Wands fed these. This is the company that hosted HRC's proprietary voter information that was stolen. You just are going to have to read that. They showed up. ICE was an exact match. Roger Stone showed up, as did Antifa. The fires, this one I did not expect, but it makes sense. Oscar Health, messaging. You know who that is? That is the health company that both Jared and Josh own, and Soros has a stake in it. And then COVID testing data. Those are all the secrets. So is this a legitimate thing, mass H's? Again, like I said earlier, how it was put out today looks untrue. However, it is very likely that actually happened, maybe during a different time period. The article said look to October to December of 2019. They give those specific dates so you don't go look at like October to December 2018 or 20. They don't want you to look at data from the other time that they're saying. They want people to focus right here, not at this timeline, okay? So that's why it could be true. I hope that makes sense. Now, the fourth house, roots, bearing down, Washington, D.C., we have the devil. That's usually below, behind bars. Ten of Swords. Nobody else had this card. So what is this Ten of Swords about? Because if that mass H, supposedly a whistleblower report was filed on behalf of the lady, they gave her name and what she did, she was a nurse, she shouldn't be here alone. And this Ten of Swords I don't like. So I've seen it for multiple things. It's always usually a puzzle. But what's bearing down on Washington, D.C. is this guy's done. We know who that is. Oh, well, it's a match. Yeah. Double devil. Devil, devil, devil. The devil's bearing down. I guess things are, winning at all cost. There you go, the Five of Swords. Oh, jeez. Scorched earth. Literally scorched earth on the West Coast. not only the GOP, it could be like a white supremacist group. It's because they're backed into a corner. They are surveillance, analyzing, getting powerful data on young people who are pissed off about the legitimacy of this death. Endings. What do we want to end? What's the death? What's the end? Retreating, rejuvenating, angry Putin G, treason, telling them that's what we're doing here. Wow, he is no juice. He is no look at how far I had to go to get the clarifiers on what's going on here. He is just, he can't even think clearly on what to do next. They're just telling him, hey, do this, do that, do this, do that, blah, blah. They're just giving him a playbook. He doesn't know. He just shows up and babbles. Okay. How are we doing? Let me check in. Okay. Yeah, Bonnie, I think so. Here's the thing, what really bothers me, because now with the voter ID, they look at your address. We were already in a housing crisis with people who were getting evicted. Now we have people displaced. How do you get a ballot if your house is burned down? How do you prove you live there? How do you find your polling place? If your address doesn't match what is on your ID, I don't think you're going to get a ballot. That's the other cruelty here. We already were in a housing crisis, unemployment contributing to it, the pandemic. Now we have fires in blue states where people are not going to be able to prove their address and where they live. It's a problem. It's disgusting. It's such a sociopath. Oh my God, I'm buffering again. Am I buffering? Okay, you guys can hear me, right? Oh, I'm not buffering. Okay, thank you. Okay, so 5th house, the Black Moon Lilith. This is, him doing scorched earth. Cruelty, because he is so hurt about everything. The Page of Swords is Michael Caputo. Oh, you guys, Jupiter just went direct too. Jupiter's at the top, and it was sitting right at the top here, 17 degrees Capricorn of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. That's law enforcement. That is lands far away. That is philosophy. Mars is retrograde, and Billow is caught. Is this Mass H a legitimate story? Set up, walk away, see what happens. Who's walking away from this? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm just going to leave this here and see who bites. Look at all the emotion out there in the dark. Can't see where it's coming from. So in this area, the only two people who had this card here, AMI, Pecker guy that owns the National Enquirer, has that. AMI was also in Italy with, Constantine. And, oh my God, ARM, the microchip company in the UK. Don't even get me started. They made a business deal with NVIDIA in the USA. They have production offices around the globe that make microchips. And then what people do is they customize those chips in whatever systems they have, one of which they have an office in a city in China. I don't think it's Wuhan. It sounded really familiar though. Yeah. Okay, secondary players. So the secondary players here is because This one is going to be the Five of Pentacles. So I'm also looking at who has the Five of Pentacles here, because the astrology said, look here. To create, the 6th house of creativity said, look here. Look how creative we are. You can't believe this. Remember Simona Mangia, whatever, married to George? She showed up as a secondary, as did Junior, as did Billow behind bars. Showed up. So annoying. So then in the 6th house of public service investigations, military, day-to-day activities, 5 of Pentacles. That is voter suppression. Everybody, those being left out. It could also be the border. It could also be denial of health care or out of luck. Exact matches again. The United States Postal Service. I don't know. Voter suppression. The bank, Hulk Bank, Turkey's state-run bank, that is in trouble with Stephen Mnuchin. Well, actually, Stephen Mnuchin is in trouble with Hulk Bank because he entertained them in the Oval Office, I think. And Project, I can't, here, I'll spell it out for you guys. Because this one, really important to what happened in 2016. Project. There's an indictment on this one too. It's the rusher. Take note of that because it's showing up a lot lately. I mean, we must be getting close to some big, big things, you guys, if this stuff is showing up. So, Hulk Bank, United States Postal Service, and Project Lacta. Oh, a secondary player here with creativity. Was the 8 of Cups set something up? YouTube data. Hello? I can't view my data as of Friday. Something's down. They're getting back to it as quickly as they can. It was a universal problem. And then I was like, oh my God, what's coming up next? Well, this is what it was. But get this. Guess who's the secondary one on this? Is Mr. Ray of Light. Christopher Ray of Light. And then Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu is a secondary. I was just so happy when I saw Ray of Light there. So happy. So, is this Mass H legitimate? 7 of Cups is the partnership or your open adversary. I don't know. Don't look here. Don't look at KY Jelly. I don't know. But remember, over here, the Cancer card, I feel, is the artificial intelligence and surveillance thing. We have the King of Wands, Angry Putin or Xi. 7th house. Who matched this card? Well, you want to know what was on the ascendant over here? The opposition, or it could be a partner. My sudden sexy trolls that have shown up since, they couldn't track our data and stats. That one. And when I did the Terrascope on the whistleblower for this issue, had this on the ascendant, which is weird because they named who the whistleblower was and all these people helped that nurse file it. Why would that whistleblower have this on the ascendant and be confused? Crazy. Go up here to shared resources. Libra, I balance. I'm going to keep this stuff in balance and keep things in justice. The Emperor. Donald at the behest of Putin. Sometimes Bill behind bars sees himself like this. But the only people who, now this is weird, matched this exactly was Sally Yates. I have no idea why. Again, and Ken Cuccinelli. Shared resources. Why would it be Sally The secondary players, Elaine Chao and Donald, were the secondary players in the shared resource. Is this a legitimate thing? I mean, it might be, but the way it was presented doesn't look like it. This area, lands far away, Putin South always call it. The Three of Wands, we've got a plan here. Who lined up with this? The North Node, Michael Cohen. Maybe getting back at Michael Cohen. I don't know, or maybe he's an informant on how this stuff works because he met with a lot of people and had a lot of money go around to help out. Let's see. And DeJoy lined up. The rally in Michigan lined up with this, but it also had no Three of Wands. So I don't know what that means. Those were exact. I said there were no secondary players when it came to lands far away. They were all primary players. Cohen, DT Rally, DeJoy. This is how big this mail thing is. What's crowning Washington, D.C.? Is this legitimate? Oh my gosh, the tarot said the Five of Wands is crowning Washington, D.C. Who did I say this was? This was Constantine Kalanick. Shh. Is it legit? Oh, whoops. The world, a successful ending. Oh, not going quite as we think it is. Let's see if we can prolong and delay the end. Get a little success out there. No. And this is where the North Node and the Moon have Donald's Sun exactly in the center. So this is very, very consequential what's happening right now. This is one of those things that dictate the path of the future that we're going to go permanently on. That's how permanent these type of aspects are. Who had this? Susan Rice had the world first. Yay. Yay. I don't know how I ran into the NCSC. I've been following them on Twitter because I think maybe some of the people I like who have good information follow that. That's the National, what is it? I want to say like Cybersecurity something committee, NCSC. They've got good information there. So they also had this crowning Washington, D.C. How is that? We've not heard a word from them. Oh, and North Korea, reversed, had this. There were no secondary players. So, is Mass H legitimate? I don't know. This area, hopes, wishes, friends, innovation, science, the High Priestess. Lift the veil, that's usually the op between Russia, China, North Korea hiding, going to do something with elections. That's the friend, the hope, the wish. Is this a legit thing? There's the government. What is the government flipping doing there? Did they file the report on the whistleblower? Capricorn, I use. The government is going to use something regarding this legitimacy. Who lined up here perfectly? Mr. Ray of Light, Christopher Ray of Light, the Bio-W, the Bio-Weapon, Mark Burnett. Is he called in for staging? I cannot believe how much he was called in for staging in Melania and me. I'm telling you, that guy is so deep into this. And then here comes Simona again. You know, the one that was married to Papa Dop. The secondary player in this was the fake FBI raid by JWohl. Loser. And finally, we're at the area of secrets and hidden enemies. The tarot said, look at the Trump campaign trying to hold on. Four of Pentacles, trying to hang on for dear life. Look at all this. Is Mass H legitimate? What's the secret? Oops. so emotional, so emotional. This is my card for all the ops that start between Russia, mostly Russia, but add China, North Korea. They are dictating it. It's making them really happy that it happened, or the timing of the story was released and it got flubbed and we're all crazy and terrorized. The hidden enemy, is it legitimate? The King of Wands. Angry Putin-G. Or it could be Biden. Hidden enemy. So who lined up here? The Ace of Cups, the emotionality. What is this? Oh, AMI, National Enquirer, lined up with that. And Kayleigh McEnroe. Kayleigh, I don't know. Now, this makes sense why Kayleigh McEnroe was showing up with Ray. Maybe she has something. She knows something about this. I haven't looked at her tweets. I don't know what she did today. Did she know something ahead of time? Also, everything in the 9th house lined up perfectly. KJU. I can only surmise that this was a technique that they used a long time ago, or maybe he knew, because I wonder if this has a legitimate part to it. We're only supposed to look at the dates that they said. I've often wondered if people were getting, you know, we've talked about this before. I've done readings on this more so last summer, but we've wondered if people were getting over there. Because, you know, Donnie's pals need people to work like in the mines and all the stuff where they have minerals, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Trump's comeuppance. I do a Terrascope. I've started doing this. This is the 3rd time. What contributes to his comeuppance? This does. Is this legitimate? This is a player in his comeuppance. Also, why are there no tests? See my video I just did. I don't know why Scaramucci's there. I have Putin there, pissed off about the 24 Saudis that were named to testify. This project, this thing shows up there. Italy. Newt Gingrich. Oh, this is one I cannot say. This one also showed up. That one showed up. As did my sexy trolls that have been commenting lately. Secondary players that showed up was the U.S. Treasury and Space Force. Now, that's in the area of secrets and hidden enemies. This got a lot more interesting. So, is this story... I feel like there's truth to it, yes, but I think it was rolled out in a very false way, if that makes sense. Give me some crow. Okay, I'm going to shuffle a little bit. I'm going to check in with you guys. We're going to ask the crow, is this legit? And stuff. Okay, how are you guys doing? Wolf just got denied. What is that? Nancy Lee, that was a name that came up that was associated with the secrets of whether or not this story was legitimate. Is the breaking news today about the Mass H legitimate? Okay, let's not say that name with the initials SR. Okay. Tarot. Oh, the Nissan case is starting up. Is that right, Marjorie? Marjorie, I still want to answer your question. You had one posted. I took a screenshot of it. I have not forgotten. Just been weirdly busy. Okay, yeah, Nancy, delete that. I don't want to flag someone. Yeah, I don't want YouTube to see that. Okay, can moderators, can we start erasing some of those comments about, you know, about those people? Because that is, you know, yeah. Right. Oh, and I think if your messages get deleted, I think that's an automatic like 30-second to 3-minute timeout. I don't know, but we can't risk having that there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Larry girl. Okay. So, whoopsie. Okay. What do I need to reverse here? So I don't think the story reporting is legitimate, but is the content of this did that happen? So that itself, it might not have been in mass, but were they performed wrongly under the guise of deception? That's what I want to know. Were they performed wrongly under the guise of deception to people at the border? Okay, so we have the Seven of Wands, being able to fight back, unable to fight back. I would say kind of deception. There was an agreement, but they signed those things. There was an agreement. Oh, God. Four of Swords, retreat, rejuvenate. Oh, my God. Four of Swords is maybe... this is getting ahead of the story that's coming out. That's what it is. Because sometimes when you do the Four of Swords and you retreat and you get up too quickly, you are wobbly, you're not stable. Something happened. I feel like this is getting ahead of the story, maybe to delegitimize it so people don't believe it. That's also very Kremlin-y. The Eight of Swords. Now, this has been showing, this is where I was like, they did do it. Who's this Eight of Swords about? Blinded, we have the Eight of Wands. Quickly blending information, a narrative, emotions, a strong story that happened quickly about what happened there for the Emperor. How does the Emperor gain by this? What does the Emperor gain? The Ten of Wands reversed. Ten of Wands not only are election data, it's how they rapidly store data abroad. He benefits by this happening really quickly, opening up space for more data. There's more space. There's more space. The Scale of Justice, we have more information to tip the scales of justice. Hi, AGBarr. And the Page of Wands, the news that came out, gave them everything they wanted about the Six of Cups, the story at the border with the children on the move. This news story is just going to keep moving and turning around and keep people fighting. That's how they benefited. I think it's something that is still really confusing, and maybe we don't know what happens. Okay, so there's something else here. What is the something else? There's something else here. It just feels like the story's getting like... Were people forced to have an HYSTERECTOMIS? Were there people at the border forced to do this? Do it without consent? Was that... I just got, this is a play on words. If you look at the word hysterectomies, it comes from the root word hysterics, hysterical, that has to do with women in histrionics. And, I can't, just a second. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. But what a play on words is that? A mass hysteria. Was this for mass hysteria? Was this for mass hysteria? Four of Swords. Y'all wobbly. Was this for... Two of Pentacles. Transmitting data. If Astrological is involved, they transmitted data about that. If this was a win for them with the election. Mass hysteria. Nine of Wands. The election. And there we have the Lovers. Play on words and the government. I think it was more the joke was on us. Because I don't feel like there's anybody who really... I mean, can you, Tarot, show me, did this happen? Can you show me the gynecologist who was... that wasn't there, because they mentioned that the lady saw a gynecologist who was outside of the facility. Show me that gynecologist. Show me the gynecologist outside the facility. King of Wands. It's the gynecologist. To the base of this gynecologist. Oh, look at there's data. This gynecologist has power and money. Boy, it's looking more and more like Putin to me. What's crowning this gynecologist? The Three of Pentacles. Secret talks. Consulting, professions. Perfecting. In the past, this gynecologist was the emperor. I guess a really great emperor gyno. Never heard of one, never knew of one, never talked about one like this. Ever. Ever. Preferably an empress, if anything. But if he was emperor over the organs, leading to the Nine of Wands. Emperor ovary has some burdens or why wands. His challenge is strength. He's not strong. He's very weak. He's an emperor, but he's very weak. Some gyno covered in very emotional and weak gyno. Tarot, how do you see this gynecologist? He's caught. I think maybe a figment of our imaginations. The environment is one of this gynecologist. Four of Pentacles, hanging on for your dear life, get paid. The hope of the gynecologist. The hope of this gynecologist is to create outrage, get people upset, do a better job. Fears the sword. Fears assault. Fears the truth. Well, okay, I could see that. Fears the truth. Fears the next step this guy is taking? This gyno is taking is very, very, very quickly, very, very, very quickly taking actions. American voter. Is that the whistleblower? To help the star. This is Office of President. What's the final outcome with this gyno? This is temperance. Blending information. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't. We're going to blend the information, come up with a narrative, because the King of Swords, hackers, Bill Barr, and the spy. Michael Caputo in the White House, Page of Swords. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. If you have to look at him, there's an insurrection, and he's going crazy. And there's the Ten of Pentacles. The Trump dynasty has fallen over. It's no more. Okay. So that's where I think we are. So, summary. JWohl shows up, or Laura Loomer trending. Ignore the stuff that's coming out for the day, because it is going to be a mix of true and false things, and watch your trigger meter. Okay? So I'm going to wrap this up here. Okay? So here we go. I know, isn't this crazy? So, okay. Hi, you guys. Okay, here we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys are feeling a little bit more, have your bearings straight on this. It's more like a wait and see. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful contributions. Being here, I so appreciate it. Okay? You guys have a good day. My next live is all on Italy. If you watch the first two videos today and the ones over the weekend, it'll help you get a leg up on what we're going to talk about. Because that one's wow. Oh, and there's a new moon coming up. My goodness. Okay. Have a great evening, you guys. See ya.